All right, I should be live. And I heard myself, so I know we're good. I'll wait for people to file in here. Hello, Mara. Yeah, we snuck one up. We switched up on you guys today. Andy went yesterday, and I'm going today. Normally, Andy's on Friday, but every now and then we ask to switch to make things work around here. But nonetheless, happy Friday, everybody. And if you forgot, it is a 3-day weekend for traders because the markets are closed on Monday for President's Day. All right. People are filing in here before questions start coming. I usually just kind of start rambling about what's going on, what I'm seeing out there. I'll tell you what, it was really disheartening to see how much NVDA, how much clout they have overnight. That news where I guess they basically divested out of SoundCloud and also Serve, which is a robotics company. And then today, Meta announced they're getting into robotics. And that's one of the reasons I bought a little bit of RR right about here, a little bit higher than here, just off that news. But I looked at the chart. It's a robotics company, really nice looking balance and a nice little cup right there, just hanging above all the key moving averages. Maybe during the hour while we're speaking, I can get a nice push back above here and give me some confirmation to take this one home into the weekend. I'm a swing trader. For those that don't know, I'm not really into scalping or quick ins and outs. I use a 15-minute chart for my favorite time frame. I was talking with Brian Shannon and Andy, and all three of us are like, wow, this market's really sloppy. It's very noisy. It can't get any follow through. There's just constant zigs and zags. But guys, in the long run, look at the S&P here. This is like textbook cup and handle. Regardless of what we think, I feel like this market's just itching to break out and make some more. Now, what could change that would make the market want to do that? Well, I think we've all been watching all week as they've been slashing and finding waste, fraud, abuse, corruption. I think, Elon actually put a number on it. He said, I think we can find $1 trillion in waste savings, and I think we can add another $1 trillion on top of that by cutting regulations. And that's the key word, you guys, cutting regulations. That's something markets like to hear. And the price action is telling us that if you're short this market and you're a bear and you have your thesis and the reason as to why you think the market should go down, the price action is not telling you the same thing. Whether it's the SPY, the IWM is the Russell, and the Russell's been having some difficulties. You can see the small caps can't get back above the 50-day moving average, which is a general bill of health. So I think one of the catalysts to watch is if we do get a big spike in the Russell 2000, that could be a nice rotation catalyst as people look to smaller caps. But again, if you just join us, this this cup and handle here in the S&P 500 is not to be taken lightly. Oh, this 610 level. I mean, we're hugging the 610 level right here, and I don't see the market. Let me put it this way: odds favor a resolution higher. I mean, we've had a good couple of months here of sideways action to pent up the energy. A couple of things I'm in. I took home MindMed. This was the RFK play, and it's been extremely volatile. I missed this first move here, but I got to tell you guys, I'm so proud of myself. I waited. Boom. Took a nice fat entry here. And then yesterday kind of sat through all this noise because I know there's a lot of shorts in this particular stock. And this is exactly the RFK type of news stock could benefit from. You know, the first thing he's going to do, he's already said this, is, and I love it, he's going to go and ask Trump to make an executive order to ban all pharmaceutical advertising. That's right, all that crap you guys see on TV. If you're watching news and whatnot, that little model where the people are running around in nature blowing dandelions and making sure they don't get cancer if you take this pill, all that's going to go away. So MindMed is a company that, you know, focuses on well-being through psychedelics, not SSRIs and Prozac and things like that. So that's the story here. I'm staying long this thing. I took some off this morning on that initial push above 10, and I'm happy to just sit in the rest into the weekend. All right, Midway, what's up? How do you sort your tree maps? Relative volume, change from the open. I want to sort them, change from the open, Midway. All of my, I'll show you right here, all of my tree maps and all of my top lists are going to be, oops, this one's changed from the close. I should probably change that. Actually, I might keep that one changed from the close because that's just kind of a watch list. But change from the open is important to me on the sector list because that tells me, you know, what got into gear as the bell rang and the market opened. A lot of things can gap down and then just be the strongest sector of the day. And the change from the close, you know, won't reflect that. So I do have these tree maps set to change from close to answer your question. For those that are curious, pull back to the 10 SMA. This is just a scan utilizing the real-time power of trade ideas to scan the market in real time. And I want to know stocks that are strong on the daily, but they're pulling back, big red candle, and touching the 10 SMA. And look, all these stocks are going to look like that. Strong, pulling back, and that top line there is the 10 SMA. Now, I'm a contrarian. That one's not a strong stock, and neither is that. But that's why I sort through them. Oh, here's a new one that just popped in. Oh, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's starting to get hit a little bit. Isn't that interesting? Actually, excuse me, that was the inverse. That was the inverse. BITI is the inverse of Bitcoin. And then over here, I have them. Let's just double check this. So let's turn off the tree map, and I have it changed from the open. Midway, you can see right there. I'll disguise that, turn that back on, and these are all going to be changed from the open. It actually shows us that right there. I don't use that that menu bar. I'm going to turn that off. Just kind of clean that up. Whatever this SPGC is, I just stumbled across it. Oh my God. 344%. That can't be right. Oh my gosh. That's really weird. Okay, whatever. But back to my tree map here. They're all going to be sorted, changed from the open, but they all have a very strong short float percentage. Speaking of, back to MindMed. This is my big winner for the day. And it's looking pretty decent. I say that because it's my 10 SMA coming up to meet that early price. It got ahead of itself and it's working itself sideways. I fully expect a nice break above 10 maybe while we're speaking here together today, guys. What else do I have? Kodak. You've heard Dan talk about Kodak. We both agree. We think that the story is going to be domestic manufacturing, chemical manufacturing, and fits right into this administration's incentive package, I think. So could wake up one morning and find out Kodak's got like a huge contract or something for the government to make penicillin, chlorine, antibiotics. Who knows? But as long as the chart confirms my story, and it is, it's trending higher, I'll stay in it. So this is an interesting one. Are you here, Patrick? I'm extremely bullish on silver at the moment. I feel like this is probably the moment in time that it might be now. Silver is one of the most difficult things to trade. It gapped up on the futures market overnight, and all it did is sell off since the opening bell. It's frustrating, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm in the money down here in this little bull flag. What I want to tell you is I actually added to some here at the gap. And so I'm just going to sit in this thing, sadly, it got really, really far ahead of its. See, this blue line here is the 5-day moving average. And when things get really far above it, it almost like they become overbought and they just kind of get drawn back into it. So hopefully this PSLV silver fund that I'm in will settle in. But this is just a very, very disheartening, disappointing open. We can't get any follow through in silver. And of course, I've got my theories on this. The banks, and they've been just fined numerous times on the silver trading desks. They have a really bad habit of creating shorts out of thin air, paper shorts, which is why I'm in PSLV, because SLV is just an ETF and they can't really substantiate the holdings, whereas PSLV is an audited. That's the key word these days, right? Auditing. So anyway, not happy about that action. It's really exaggerated, but I'm going to sit through and see how we close and go into the weekend. I talked about RR, this little robotics stock. Meta got into the robotics today. And gosh, I've been sitting in this one, but I'm really getting frustrated. This NVDA, it's an AI company. You know, we look at BBAI and some of these others. Well, NVDA is simply applying AI to medical diagnoses. Faster, accurate treatment makes perfect sense. Seems like a great story, but the chart is just going sideways all week on me. I've just been sitting in this thing. All right, Midway. Yeah, so Midway brings up a good point. I want to remind people that we've been having difficulty with our data provider getting the proper floats or short float percentage values. And it's not just us, it's kind of a consensus number to begin with. It only comes out twice a month, but there's differing values if you go out there on Google and search. So it's very hard to trust what we have. And I would probably be wise if I was playing something super short to make sure I'm verifying that. But we're working on that with our data provider. We're not taking it lightly. That needs to be fixed. But occasionally we're going to find some stocks that have some conflicting values. So just reminding people to, if you can, double check on short NASDAQ or Google searches out there to see if there's some conflicting data. But this NVDA is going to have to, if it closes here, I'm probably not going to take it home. I need it to get back above this blue line on the daily. That's my 50 period moving average. It was above it for the last 4 days. If it's going to give it up into the weekend, I don't want it. So that means this thing has to bounce a good 10 cents into the close for me to keep it into the weekend. That's SPG just heavily shorted with 9 million total. Yeah, our float is off there too. Look at that. Yeah, it's just not right. So that brings the floor open to whoever wants to come in and say hi. If you have a question, I can look at charts. A lot of people have their favorite chart they're looking at, and they're not really sure what to do with it. So remember, we're going into a long 3-day weekend here. I wouldn't be surprised to see the SPYs and Qs sell off here a little bit midday. They run out of room, and there's just nowhere to go without pulling back and kind of just resetting things. That's just how price action has to work. And the SPYs and Qs have had 2 solid days jamming up into the resistance. So this little red area we're seeing here is kind of warranted. Oops. To be expected, I should say. We could pull back down here to 535, and that would be healthy. Honestly, it just helps the price build a higher base camp from which to move higher. That's how price action works. There's that HYMC. I had this last time I was with you guys, and I got my move. It was lovely. I was sitting in it way back here. Again, this was a silver stock. Sold half of it and then had to sit patiently and then got rid of the rest of it here on this day. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for in this NVDA stock. Again, going back to the story here, medical AI, I'd like to think it could do something, but I'm going to let the price action tell me. Hello, Johnny. What do I think of CRNC? Not bad. I like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first go profile. We got AI. So we've got an AI stock. I just told you I like AI. I've got that NVDA, mobility and transportation markets. Okay, so another niche AI play. Cool story. Does the chart confirm the story? Well, somebody put this thing on the radar back here, and that usually is the beginning of a shot across the bow saying, "Hello, market. I'm a player." It looks really good right here on the daily because we had 2 solid days of movement. Now we've got 4 days of consolidation. If you're new here, I'm going to tell you the worst thing you can ever do is be somebody who pulls up a chart like CRNC on this day and go, "Oh my God, look at it, it's been running. I got to get in on this." You're just asking to be a part of the frustration of the reversion to the mean. What you want to do is find stocks like this. Okay, partnership with NVIDIA, that helps for sure. Hopefully they stay in their good graces, unlike sound. But the point being is it's showing us a really good entry here. It's pulling all the way back and it's just kind of sitting and resting and skipping off of the key moving averages that I use. So this first one right here is a really good looking chart on the daily. And not only that, you're not chasing it. It's consolidating and giving you a really nice setup. The jump rope is coming around for you. However, we go to the intraday and we're under pressure. We're still under this 5-day moving average. We're still under our 10 SMA, but we've got to start, making a move. And I think the move above this 5-day moving average, eventually, if it can do that, would confirm that maybe we're going to make a move and try to break out from that. So I think it's a good looking chart, good looking story. And the timing on it is really interesting because if you'd have showed me 4 days ago, I would have been saying, "Hey, this is a nice looking chart. Maybe I'll set a price alert down here around this area and then I'll watch it." Ooh, mine met on highs. That'll make me happy. So it broke above 10. Did it ever? All right, let me catch up here. Mara, I'm too ignorant to ask about a chart for now. Hope your trades go well. I got silver from my relatives a few years ago. I'm disappointed it hasn't taken off yet. Mara, what's happening? I'm going to go conspiracy theory on you because that's what I do. I can't help it. There's a lot of powers that be that don't want silver to go. It'll weaken the dollar. And they've discovered, like I said, at the JP Morgan trading desk, Bank of America trading desk, that you can just really rig the silver market by creating shares out of thin air that aren't accountable for. And it's very frustrating. However, Mara, I honestly feel like those days are numbered. And I feel like this price action is starting to signal that people already have been chasing gold, and that's a healthy pullback today for gold. But silver's been the lagger. And this one's been tough. And the price action today tells me it's the same as it ever was, right? They just can't let this thing get too far ahead of itself. But I'm positioned pretty heavy in PSLV, and I'm saying I'd be reprimanded if I was managing other people's money. But I feel like this is the beginning of maybe the big move going into a 3-day weekend. Things are it doesn't seem like they can keep the price of silver down as much as they want to, but that's just me. I'm a big silver bull. I own it as well in the physical. And I've got a big chunk of my 401k here, maybe trying to take advantage of a long 3-day weekend. We'll see what happens. Do I have any thoughts on BTDR? I think this is AI, isn't it? Oh, it's crypto. That's right. These crypto stocks are on my shit list, whether it's Mara, Riot, Hut, Hive, they're all these blockchain stocks. They just can't get out of their own way. I was saying earlier, nothing wants to follow through lately. And I just felt like many, many months ago, I stopped trading anything having to do with the blockchain stocks because they just refused to follow through. And Mara is a good example. Breakout this morning and all the way back. Downtrend on the daily. So with that said, BTDR is just not one of my favorite sectors. But with that said, you got to give it a shot here, right? You got to watch it. That's what I'm saying. So if we put a price alert right there, and it takes out this price alert and closes back above this 10 SMA on the daily, maybe it's the beginning of something. But personally, I'm kind of biased in that respect because I can't get myself to take any risk going long these crypto stocks. They've disappointed me too many times. All right, AJ, what's the difference between Go Momo 3 minute and Trade Wave 5 minute? Both are available. Oh, Go No Go. Okay. The Go No Goes, they're basically just going to give you more of a nuanced setting as to where the price is in relation to go or don't go, because we've got a couple different um, colors. Let's just grab that. So here's our colors. Um, we dark pink, bad. If you're long, bad, very weak. And then it goes to light pink. Hey, maybe we're going to try and break at it. No, back down to the ugly color again, and then back to the light pink, and then the color after that subsequently is neutral. This is the neutral color of orange. The signal color is actually this cyan, because we're going from a neutral orange to a cyan. So it's not giving us a big buy tag. It's giving us color gradients to kind of walk us through the chart. Now, 3 minute and 5 minute, there's differences in time frames. So I would say just use a 5 minute and a 5 minute, which we can do here on any of these charts. But as you can see, these particular scans are designed for daily, it looks like. So I don't want to mess that up. So that's your go, no go. It kind of gives you a walkthrough of the patterns and the way the colors go. You've got two negative, dark pink, light pink. You got neutral, which is orange, and you've got positive, which is cyan or light, like kind of a light green, and then the blue. You want to be in the blue. Now, if we go to go, no go, I'm sorry, if we just go to trade wave, we'll just turn that on here. We start to get different ideas of the actual buy and sell tag. So there was a sell tag yesterday at the close, and then that first tag, that first candle right there on the open, boom, back to a buy. There's no closing tag on this Citigroup trade. So you basically, you buy the B and you sit in it until the S. Now I know it begs the question, where can I see the scan that shows me the ones that are turning buys immediately? Well, we don't necessarily have a lot of those. We do have something here in the Market Explorer window. And you go to select strategy, trade wave. So Michael gave us 3 daily, weekly, and 5 minute trade waves that are on there. That'll give you ideas. There are things that are popping up with a new buy or a new buy tag, basically, because they're all going to be long. So that's really the difference. It's binary, buy or sell, but the go no go kind of says, hey, this stock's warming up. You might want to keep an eye on it. A pox on the silver manipulators. They're going to have their day where they're going to have to pay. I don't know what they're going to pay, but we're going to have our day. The public is going to break through the silver paper trading fiasco that has just been dominating it forever. I don't think it can be held back much longer, especially when you look at what gold has been doing. All right, my Mind Med is safe. Again, I took 25% off on the open. I'm going to let the other 75% roll through the weekend. Big short float on this. And we've got RFK going after the pharmaceutical ads and marketing industry immediately. This is a homeopathic way, and I think people are just going to make major shift. This could be the beginning of something. This NVDA is just not working out for me. But I've made more mistakes selling something midday because I don't like it midday and not waiting for the close. So this MDAI is going to be my very first one that I'm going to be looking at 10 minutes to the close today. As a swing trader, I go through my entire portfolio, every single stock, and I evaluate, do I want to keep this one overnight, or do I want to reset that money and use that cash for something new tomorrow? Because as you know, we now get T+1 in cash accounts. Oh man, that's a great question. I think will Doge address this in silver? If not directly, it'll come indirectly, because this is the year of exposure. This is the year of light. And light is being shined in all the dark corners, politically, financially, morally. It's everywhere. I think it's all going to be good. All right, Midway, when you're in a swing scalp trade that's working, okay, I know what you're talking about. Well, and then you see that one red bar reversal on the 15-minute, how much weight would you give that first bar reversal? I would say it all depends on, is it my first spot to sell? If I haven't taken any profits and it's a big morning push and it's that very first closing red bar that's rolling over below the 10 SMA, I'm going to take profits. Now, if I've already thinned out and taken some off, maybe even at a higher price, and I've only got a half of a weighting left, half my position left midway, and then it rolls over and closes below, I'm probably going to let it sit because I've already taken profits on the first chunk. And so it's kind of, it requires context in what happened prior to that candle closing below the rising 10 SMA. Like if we go to MindMed, like see in MindMed, I had already, okay, perfect example. I had already sold some at 10.05 in MindMed. When this candle came down here, I didn't panic because in my mind, I've already paid myself a little bit. I want to see what happens. And then of course that candle never even closed below. So that's not part of our example. It showed tremendous strength by wicking and popping back up into the trend and moving higher. So that's the answer. It depends on how much profit I've taken going into that. I will tell you this, if it's like the very trailing last bit, I'm like, I don't think I can get much more out of this, and I don't want to stick around, that's as black and white as it gets. The first closing candle under the rising 10 SMA for my last bit, I'll use that every single time as my trigger to get out of that last bit. Boy, this Nibis, Dan loves this Nibis, and they got good news overnight with NVDA investing in them, just like that other stock. Here's a prime example of why I kick myself. Yesterday, I was in a mood where I was like, man, I got too much stuff. This rumble, I don't know if it can get back above this 50-day. And it was this low right here. It was this low right there. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna rearrange this thing. It's had a couple of times to go, and I got out midday. And by the end of the day, I was just like, why did you sell that midday? Why couldn't you give that to the close? So a perfect example of why I've kind of nestled into that rule of not panicking out of something midday. It wasn't going that far against me. I was just getting frustrated with having too many things that weren't working, and you get in a mood and you get in a moment, and it's usually the wrong move. The next test drive, I'm hoping in March, because I know what Dan wants to do is he wants to coincide the next test drive with our ability to simulate what you've been hearing about, that trade wave. That's step one, is getting the trade wave simulated, where I can say all of a sudden, hey, I want to start trading this tree map here. Make sure I'm always in these top three and don't allocate more than 5,000. Blah blah blah. Stop, reversal, if, percentage, trailing. Blah. It'll be up to you. You can configure and play around with those levers and turn those dials. That is the moment when that comes live. We will be having a test drive shortly thereafter. Day trade, Daryl, because Dan wants to coincide test drives with some new type of release so people can try the new releases. So no date yet, but shooting for late March maybe. Yes, that would be the money machines thing. So the concept being that when you do come to the next test drive, you will have the ability to play around in a simulated mode with the money machine, which is basically any one of our scans turned into kind of a top list tree map. and you're always going to be staying in the strongest three in an automated fashion. There's no manuals. So we're doing it in graduated steps. Crawl before we can walk, which would be simulate before we go live. None that I actually, yeah, position and range. No, I don't think so. Andy is the key at using position and range. He just gave me a new one. We'll just see a perfect example of that. I called it version 2, Andy's homework version 2, because he's got a pullback setting in here now. And I imagine if I go right to this pullback setting, there's going to be some sort of position and range. Let's see. Position in your range, 50. So it's got to be 50 or higher. Position in today's range. So he's got 2 position in ranges. He's got 3 position in ranges. He's got a 20-day, and look at that, he's got 4. That's your guy. I'll share this with you midway. But here's a scan where Andy's literally corralling 4 different time frames: 20-day, 5-day, today, and 1 year. So check this out. You can play around with this. And of course, anybody else can too. Day trader, it's not available yet. On there was basically a wait list, kind of like the way Elon Musk did the Cybertruck thing, a wait list. And so there's 100 people on a wait list that guaranteed they'll be the first 100 to try it live. However, the simulated fashion won't be the case. So Andy tries to corral price, he uses those position and range filters very well. He was talking about that on Trader TV last week. That's a nice looking one, Corning. Jeez. Yeah, I'm going to be on Trader TV next week, and I think what I'm going to talk about is how we use this slam into the 130. We talked about that last time I was live. I use Andy's first homework scans. Yeah, Jervin, if you want the one I just dropped, that's kind of an updated version. I just typed the keyword 130. It's funny. Okay, slam into the 130, pull back. Let's try this. I'll keep that open for a minute. Configure. So let's look at the chart first. Perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for. This is the power of trade ideas, you guys. There's my 5-day moving average. Do I like to chase stocks, or do I like to buy them as a contrarian buyer on support? Yes, that's me. So it makes sense to have a real-time scanner show you in real time, hey, the stock is strong, but in the moment, it's pulling back to a really good risk-reward area. Okay, this is designed to help you not chase things. It's designed to help you use the power of trade ideas in real time. DQ came down, but blasted through it. Not a great example. CONL came down, blasted through it. Here's a good example. Came down on the open and popped off of it, held it. LI also, no, actually blasted through it. I'll try to get some good content maybe along those lines for next week to talk about, how traders can use that. Premium includes second generation AI signal. Yes, that will be the case going forward. I don't think it's going to be for sim trading, but let me ask. Hang on a second. Let me just clarify that. Try and get that answered back to you. That's why I asked Dan to come on here every Wednesdays, day trader Daryl, so people can ask the horse directly to his mouth. What's coming? Where are we? What's the updates? What are we going to need? Because again, you kind of followed that Elon Musk marketing model. Talk about it first while it's being built, like the Cybertruck did. I don't have the ability to show it here right now in TI Pro, other than what we have. Let's see. Honestly, I'm going to say this. There's really nothing to do right now. There's so much that's being done behind the scenes that you really, it's just kind of a visual right now. You really want to wait until the first iteration of the retail public version where they can get their hands on it and play around with it. And you can control much more of what's going on. So right now it's just kind of a visual. So it's a placeholder until we get it, and it's very close to being incorporated here into Trade Ideas Pro. But again, the next big step coming up over the horizon will be a new version of Trade Ideas Pro that will allow me to say, hey, this short squeeze thing here, maybe I want to right click and have a money machine option. All of a sudden I can go in and I can start, calibrating how much I want to allocate and how I want to go about trying to stay in those top three. Oh, it's extremely interesting. I can't wait to get my hands on it, day trader Daryl. I've been asking every day, can I have the latest iteration? Because let me tell you this. This is where it gets kind of more exciting, because it's already exciting. What if we took the ability, like we basically have the limited ability right now, let's do it a different way. Let's do it 5-minute trade wave, 5 minutes. We'll go over here, change this to 5 minutes. We'll turn on the trade wave. So as I was saying earlier, right now, all we have is this Market Explorer window. And it gives us some ideas. Okay, that was a sell. Okay, a buy tag just came in here in AEM. We'll go back to AEM, buy tag. Okay, well then, so you'd buy and you would hold it until the S tag showed up. Pretty simple. But what if, and I don't mean what if, what's coming and what's taken a little extra while is that Dan has basically said, we need to merge this trade wave alert system into the money machine. So instead of just a typical scan, we're going to have scans that are going to be triggering trade waves. So the minute a buy tag comes out, it becomes an automatic buy. So that's what's taking longer. That they just keep improving and finding new ways to make it better in the laboratory. And that's why people are waiting for it, including myself. Yeah, sure. You can get my short squeeze potential tree map. Nothing really special about it other than the fact it's just looking for stocks that do a daily volume of at least 250,000. And that they have at least a short float of over 20%. And then as you saw, I've got it sorted by change from the open. So as I send this over to you, it'll be, oops, I don't want that in there. I hate that. There we go. I'll send this over to you in this form and fashion, and you'll know exactly what you've got. So you never lose track. And then the way I use this thing is I'm just going through them. And if I see something I like this SPGC, like if I want, we missed that earlier. Let me go back to my 15-minute time frame. There it was. Oh, I almost did it live too, but I didn't want to. It's an 80-cent stock, and this is the one that has that crazy short float, right? But what I would have done is I would have pulled that up, SPGC, and be, whoa, this is where you want to buy these high short floats, because this is where the rubber meets the road. The shorts got burned. They brought the price back down, but this is where momentum likes to dig in and create a higher base camp. This is the 10 simple moving average on a 15-minute chart. This is as basic as I make it. When I first pulled this up with you guys, I literally thought about buying it because it was so insane, but I'd rather just focus on the session. So point being is you go through that scan, Jervin, and you start finding things, and maybe it was getting close. So what you do is you just take the second step of the scan, which is marking up a price alert. And then you wait for the price alert to go off, and then you establish, do I want to trade this? It's a giant short float. It could be a giant short squeeze. Aloe. Aloe's probably done for the day. Pack B. Well, you could put an alert in here and say, if Pack B gets back above, by the way, a lot of times these alerts I set with you guys for examples, they go off for me during the week, and I actually trade some of them. If Pack B gets back above, you can set that price alert. And more importantly, use this notes area to fill in the data of the short float. So when it pops up, you can look over on your price alert page and you can see exactly why you liked it and why you set that alert. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch workflow there, Jervin, on the short float squeeze. Just because they're on there doesn't mean buy it. They're just ideas to follow. All right, Midway. Going back to BTDR's 15-minute chart, if you see a stock like that. Yeah, I might have one for you. Let's see. If I look at DJT, it's the same thing. I've got a little bit of DJT, just enough to keep it on my radar, and I'm waiting for it to get above the 5-day, just like you are in BTDR. So what I'll do sometimes is maybe take a little and then wait for a candle or two that close back above that 5-day, and then I add to it. So that's that. We were just talking about our free trial. It's called a test drive, and it's always going to be a group event because there's live data involved. We have to kind of really corral and make sure the live data is done in one big group effort, so it's not bleeding over into different months. And there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, but we're going to probably do a free trial in March. I don't know what date yet. But as I was saying earlier, the CEO, Dan, wants the new money machine to be in a simulated mode inside of trade ideas. I'm not getting an answer. Let me ask somebody else on this. Do you need premium to simulate it? I'm going to guess. Oh, he's answering me now. Never mind. What is ODTE? Is that a stock? No. And I got an answer. So as I suspected, only premium will get access to the money machine for simulator. Okay. So when it does come out, you'll need a premium subscription to have access to that module to turn that on. And then it'll be a $2,000 annual fee to go live. Oh, zero delta? Zero DTE. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about. Let me know what you're talking about more. I'm not quite sure of the DTE. James, how do we change the color? So there's two different ways to change colors in a specific column. And the best way here is the top list. And this is how you do it. Notice if I go right click inside the guts of the scan, and if we go to colors, it's the whole scan. It's the whole filter of how to gradient the color. But what if I just want to do this one column here, which is this relative volume column? So here's the key that I think you might be missing is right click on the actual column header And there it is, custom colors for relative volume. And then you see I've got these custom color palettes only for relative volume. Now, if it comes to these, the alert windows, these might be a little harder. Oops, hang on a second. So custom colors. So it looks like you might be able to do some of that there as well. So that's going to be the answer for you. Just right click on the actual header that you want to change the colors for. 0 days to expiration for options. I don't trade them. We don't have anything that scans for them. The only options type of scanning that we're going to do here is going to be in relation to the put call ratio as it relates to norms. Actually, I'll just type options. So you can see these are all the options we have. Put call ratio, volume today, contracts, and then volume today in percent basically means, 300% would say, hey, this stock is doing 3 times its normal option volume. That's about the most we can give you at Trade Ideas for options information. Thank you, David. Market Explorer, Trade Wave, Daily, Buy. What do the red and green mean on the right side? Okay. Position of 52-week range just means where is it in relation to its 52-week range, at the 90th percentile or not. But when we go back to Trade Wave, you were asking about this down here, I believe. Trade Wave report. If that's the case, it's going to show you if you were going long or short, which directions the buys and the sells would have kind of added up to, but it's only going to show you what's inside there. So if you zoom out for more, you'll get more. But that's just kind of a little Trade Wave report, if that's what you're talking about. Annette. Yeah, SPGC, it's crazy what it will do. But more importantly, I just want people to imprint on that, the look of the chart and how it was looking at that moment. The Trade Wave buy window in Market Explorer. Okay, so let's go back to Market Explorer. Okay, I'll do, whoops. Oh, there's BTDR. There's our friend. Look at that. Trying to give you confirmation. Maybe this thing's going to be the leader and turn around for those blockchain stocks. Okay, I'll go back to a 5-minute here. Trade Wave. Okay, so we're all set up here. What do red and green mean on the right side? Okay, so relative volume, is that what you're talking about? You want the daily, okay. So we'll go daily. Now we'll turn our daily on. I'll turn this off. Okay, so here's the Trade Wave daily in our Market Explorer. Position in 52-week range. Got it. 97. If I pull this up, CAE is going to be at the 97th percentile between its 52-week low and 52-week high. And there it is. Okay, so you see that little wick? That would be the 90, that would be the 100 percentile, and you're at the 97th. So that's just a number value that kind of tells you where you are in relation to the bigger picture. If this goes back to highs, that number will become 100. And it looks like that's how we're sorting here. So you see that? Okay, good observation. The lower we go, the lower these things are. So basically, this thing is being sorted by showing us the highest, strongest 52-week price that's closest to its 52-week high, and giving you any B and S Trade Wave ideas from that. That's a pretty good looking one right there. I'd agree with that. Well, the red and green mean it's above 50%. There's your threshold right there. It's just a color gradient. Red means it's down low. These are going to be down at the low end of their range. Look at this. They're down low by their 52-week low. We probably don't want to mess with these. They're not very strong. The stronger ones are up top. So I think that's what you were asking for. Hopefully that helps. Great. Awesome. I love it when things get cleared up. This is why we do this every single day, you guys, at 12 Eastern, because it's too hard to come in really and kind of have this conversation in a chat window where Annette has a good question, but I'm unable to show him really in the chat window quickly how I'm doing it and what it is. So we make ourselves available every day at this time of day to give support. All right, let me check on my stuff here. MindMed we know is doing just fine. Kodak, I'm in Kodak, giving some back, and to be expected. See, anything more than 2 green days in a row, it's highly unusual. So I got long down here perfectly at the 50-day moving average. I rode this day. I rode this day. This doesn't bother me at all. This is needed. And so I've got to force myself to stay patient and say, hey, you need this pullback in order for it to go higher. Oh, what's old PSLV doing, huh? Hey, Mara, maybe we're going to get some. I tell you what, by the end of the day, the longer the tail, the longer the booty on this thing, the better. I want a big, long tail on this thing. It'd be great if it could close up here around 11:20, because on the daily chart going into a 3-day weekend, you would see a breakout from consolidation with a big, long tail. That's just my wish list for today. So if you pull up PSLV or SLV at the end of the day and it's got a giant bottoming tail and back towards highs, you know that I'm a happy camper going into the weekend. BTDR is definitely trying. Definitely trying. RGTI long. Let's take a look. That's one of those quantum stocks, isn't it? Yeah. The quants have been tough. I go down here, all my Q stocks, Quamco, ARQ, Qubit, they've had a rough time. So that, in that vein, let's go back to RGTI. Again, the quant stocks have had a rough time. Well, what do I want to see? Well, we're seeing something here. We're seeing the 50-day and this 5-day kind of coming down. There's going to be some resolution here. I would keep an eye on it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to listen, and I'm going to put a price alert right above this little pivot level here, about 1303. And I'll keep an eye on that next week. Could be interesting. But right now it's pinched. I'm calling that a pinch play. If you take a shot here, you're still kind of guessing. I want to see if that resolves below the 50, you stay away, or it resolves above that 5 and gets above the 13 level. That might be interesting. IONQ, another AI stock. No, it's quantum. I guess I forgot that was more quantum than I thought. This one's a little scary. This one concerns me. Honestly, if I was in this thing, I'd probably be selling it if it looked like this at the end of the day. 1, 2, 3, 4 days it can't get back above its 5-day, which in the past was support. 50-day, I'm sorry. The past it was support. So I see these moving averages starting to get a hold of it and curl over, and before you know it, you're in the armpit. And I don't like being in the armpit. You're behind the 8 ball when you're in the armpit, meaning the moving averages are above you. It just smells bad in the armpit. NGD with earnings on Wednesday. New gold. So it's a gold stock. Not bad. I mean, it's pulled back into a healthy area here. I would say, you look at this, it tried to take out yesterday's lows. If it can hold that, more power to you. What I'm saying is you've got kind of a risk reward level here. You buy it here at 289. If it breaks down below 286, 285, you get out. But if it holds and starts to grind higher, then maybe you've got something. I just wouldn't take it into the earnings. Have had more bad luck, even with small shares. I never seem to get on the right side of an earnings reaction. Okay, let's look. Let's see if that's the case in IREN. In a pinch play yesterday. Yep. I believe you're looking at this right here. You wait for the first closing candle, which technically was this green guy right here. We never really got a closing candle below, did we? Look at all those wicks. That's why I wait for closing candles and sometimes two closing candles on a 15-minute chart just to make sure that the 5-day moving average is doing what I want it to do. But what he's highlighting here was the 10 SMA holding the top, the 5 SMA holding the bottom, and it resolved higher. And since then, it's been nothing but up. So you watch for those pinch plays and how they resolve. That's what I've been doing a lot of lately. Oh, MindMed. I really hope that there are that many shorts in MindMed and it's not bad data. 37%. Because they're going to have a long weekend. All right, guys, I'm almost talked out here. Probably got time for another question or two, but top of the hour is looming. What is this MDAI doing to me? Ooh, I'm going to get maybe going to get a reprieve. PSLV, maybe we're going to get a reprieve. The beginning of one anyway. Like I said, just give me a long tail in silver going into the weekend. That would be as bullish as I could ever see. All right, last call for one more question before I got to run. If anybody's got one. If not, no big deal. But personally, the thing I'm watching today is silver. I'm making a big bet that we're at that moment in history where gold and silver are going to decouple from what's been happening to them and being held down by mysterious forces. I think we're close, but that's just me. All right. I think we're good. Thanks, Gerben. Again, these for you guys that are new to trade ideas or even new to trading, these are invaluable hours every day, 12 to 1 Eastern. You'll get a different person every day, different insights. Hi ho silver. Exactly, Mara. I am disgustingly long. I am criminally long silver. Like I said, I'd be fired if I was a money manager right now. But it's my money, so I get to do what I want. All right, everybody. Good session. Thanks for all the great questions, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.